John. Where are we?
We're on the internet.
We are on the internet. We're streaming.
We're streaming, and we are Mean Girls Interrupted is the show.
Yes.
And we review a movie, and today we are reviewing Amsterdam.
We review and spoil. We synopsize and spoil this movie.
Yeah, rotten, spoiled, dirty movie.
Yeah, so if you like spoilers, I mean, they're coming up.
Stay tuned.
But if you hate spoilers, go watch the movie Amsterdam. It's on HBO Max right now for, I don't know how many people, for us, at least in the United States.
Yeah, mine was on HBO Max.
Same. So,
and stream it now.
But so do that first if you hate spoilers, but make sure you come back immediately.
Oh, right, because before you go, you have to like, comment, subscribe, rate, review, but mostly follow, subscribe, rate, review.
Also, don't forget, John, they can email us at meangirlsinterrupted@gmail.com, and you guys can suggest a movie. You guys can suggest a movie for us to watch. We can't wait. We would love watching movies. It doesn't matter.
Right. But we mostly like to be controlled by you.
I love being controlled.
So, you know who else likes being controlled? David O. Russell.
Yes.
Who directed and wrote Amsterdam. And he is of kind of prestige movies such as American Hustle.
Yeah.
With Jennifer Lawrence.
Bradley Cooper.
And also Silver Linings Playbook, also with Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper.
Why was Jennifer Lawrence not in this one? And also Bradley Cooper.
Maybe she was. I mean, maybe they were just over
busy?
it.
You think they're busy?
Maybe they were busy. Maybe they were asked. Maybe they no longer. Maybe they just don't want to do another David O. Russell movie.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? That's probably it.
Well, I liked both of those movies. I liked Silver Linings Playbook, and I also liked
it was good.
And I also liked American Hustle.
Yeah, me too. I thought that was very good. But you know what movie I do struggle with?
This one?
Yeah.
Amsterdam.
I do like a David O. Russell situation. His movies are very recognizable.
I actually really love the way it's filmed. I love the color palette.
You know, I do too.
Love the color palette in this movie. John, there was a point when you see two characters, which is kind of it's irrelevant. We won't get there. I mean, we'll get there at some point, but they were matching with the background. Everyone in the room matched, and the tones were so freaking gorgeous. And I was like, dude, it's so well thought out, the color palette.
Yeah. Is it a gorgeous movie?
It actually is.
Yes. It's very gorgeous with gorgeous people,
John,
gorgeous actors.
Literally, the cast in this movie.
Everyone's very attractive.
Here's another trigger. If you guys, we said this before in the description box in one of the episodes. If you're ugly, this movie is going to make you feel bad about yourself. And it's okay to be ugly. You know, we all are at some point.
But like watching a movie like this is very much like you're just watching really attractive people who are either decent or really good at acting.
And every single one of them has a jawline that could stab you in the neck.
Maybe that's David O. Russell's kink.
Jawlines, because I was literally looking at them.
Everyone.
I'm not joking. I was like, God.
Just to get more specific, Christian Bale, jawline.
Bone structure.
Margot Robbie. So Christian Bale is not supposed to be attractive in this movie, but still somehow manages to be attractive.
Also, which is weird. If you failed to recognize, they also have the king of jawlines. Why does his name escape me?
Oh, Rami Malek.
Not only just Rami Malek, of course him, because John, that bone structure is insane. But also, please help me. He plays a villain in every movie, and he's weirdly hot to me.
Timothy Olyphant.
That's not Timothy Olyphant. It's
Okay, we are naming people who are in here.
Yes, but
there are so many. This could go on.
There's so many people in this movie. It's actually insane.
Is he a villain in this movie?
No, he's actually a good person. He plays alongside Austin Powers, whose name also escapes me.
Oh, right. Yeah, he does have a crazy jawline, and I'm going to get to it. I'm going to get to it.
Oh my God, why can't I remember his name? I had his name too.
It is
Someone please help.
Michael Shannon.
John, Michael Shannon. I know a lot of people are probably not into him. There's something about him.
I think there's a lot of people into Michael Shannon.
I'm into Michael Shannon, and it's weird because he honestly looks evil. He never plays anybody who's not a good person.
Like either evil or like mentally tortured.
But he doesn't play either of those in this. He just plays a person who loves birds and has an amazing jawline.
Yes.
And that's what we're at. Like basically, tall. This movie should have been called Jawlines, not Amsterdam.
Right, because you do have the people I mentioned, Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, John David Washington, who is Denzel Washington's son. Who is, fun fact,
very good looking.
Everyone in here is very good looking.
So incredibly good looking.
Yeah, and like I feel like he knows it.
Of course he knows it. There's no way he doesn't know it.
There's a lot of like
your dad is Denzel, dude. Like how are you not?
Yeah, there's like single shots of him that are just long close-ups, and I'm just like, work.
Yeah, he's very, very attractive.
Also, another famous jawline of indie movie fame is Alessandro Nivola.
Okay, who
plays Detective Hiltz? He's like the wormy detective in this.
Yes.
Andrea Riseborough, she plays the bitchy wife.
I liked her.
Jawline. Anya Taylor-Joy, famous
full face.
Famous eyes, famous jawline, famous lips, famous everything. Also, Chris Rock wasn't looking too bad in this one, which was weird. No, he
was looking very good. And I know.
Wasn't mad about it.
Nope. And they made everyone beautiful in this, even with scars.
Michael Shannon. I mean, Mike Myers. No, I don't want you in this movie. Taylor Swift.
That's weird because I actually liked Mike Myers in this movie.
But I mean, he's just like kind of like that person at the orgy who's like, okay, you can just stay here.
Oh, well, he's here. Like,
yeah. Cool. You just watch from the corner, just don't engage.
Zoe Saldana,
another jawline. Rami Malek, jawline. Robert De Niro also has a jawline, maybe not anymore.
No, he still does. He
still works it.
Like talk about a hot grandpa.
Yeah. What wasn't he in that movie called that?
Or was it Bad Grandpa? I'm pretty sure that was what's his married to Angelina Jolie at one point. Remember? She got a tattoo.
Robert De Niro is in a movie sort of called Bad Grandpa.
Oh, Bad Grandpa, not Bad with Santa.
And he has a sex scene with
Not Bad Santa.
Not Bad Santa.
My brain immediately went to Bad Santa.
Which is an awful place to be.
Sorry to take us there. Yes, you're right. It is Bad Grandpa.
In that movie, Robert De Niro has a sex scene with Aubrey Plaza.
Are you for real?
Yes.
We're not going to go off on a tangent too much on Aubrey Plaza, but I'm excited for her.
We're not going to watch it.
I'm excited for her career to blossom because she's in White Lotus right now. And John, all you need is a good role on an HBO show. And I really think that can help boost you.
I think so too. And she's always been a great actress.
Very talented.
Did you ever watch it? Really? I mean,
she has a new movie out we should watch.
What is it?
I can't remember the name, but I'll text you.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
Something about a criminal. Something Emily the criminal.
Right. Yes, I think that's almost there. Yeah, if not exactly it. Yes.
Okay.
But yes, she's blossoming into the Hollywood starlet she's been destined to be.
I'm happy for her, I hope.
As a girl from Delaware. So anyway, so this movie's budget was $80 million.
That tracks.
$10 million less than it does track. It looks very good.
It's seriously so well done. And honestly, the cast is insane.
Yeah, it is considered a flop because it did a dismal $31 million worldwide.
I know it sucks though, because like the way the movie was marketed, it actually looked good. I remember me and Redacted being like, I want to go watch that movie. Problem is, movies.
I don't know what it came out against.
I
think it was like in October.
People are having a hard time still going to theaters. I don't think a lot of people go.
Well, I think for movies like this, for sure.
I haven't been to a movie since. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that me and Redacted used to do, just like you. I used to always
Like all
go
the
to
time?
movies, and I have not been. I do not go. And it's not that I don't want to. It's just that like I'm really
it's a
tired
little
of
bit too much
catching
of a
COVID.
risk. Yeah. And so I think this movie just wasn't drawing the crowds.
I just don't think, because people didn't know what it was either. I didn't know what this movie was about.
It's a hard sell. Like if I'm gonna pay money to go see a movie in a movie theater at a time like this, it's gonna be like super high action, super high horror, something escapism-y.
Yes, something that you can literally disappear into, which is why James Cameron's next Avatar movie is going to have every seat full.
Yeah, like don't release a movie the same weekend as Way of the Water.
Here's the thing, though, and you're not wrong. If you're releasing a movie at the same time as this, you already know that your movie sucks and you're willing to take the hit.
Or it's a total opposite of Avatar.
Just take your movie out of the theater. Let them put Avatar in every theater so everyone can see it. And within a week, we can watch another movie.
Right. Are you going to pay to go see Avatar
I
in the
still
movie
don't
theater?
know if I'm going to. I have not decided. I do want to watch it.
Because those will be jam-packed theaters.
And I don't think I'm going to be doing that. And it's going to be in the theater for like 3 months anyway. They're going to capitalize off this.
Yeah. And will it just go onto Disney Plus or something?
I don't know. Will it?
I don't know.
Probably not. Because doesn't he talk about hating streaming services? Isn't he like pretty vocal?
They all do. They all do, but that's not his choice.
Well, whatever. You're right. It isn't his choice.
Yeah. So anyway, so this stars all those people that we mentioned. And I would say it starts out with Christian Bale being like a morphine addict.
Is he?
Yeah, he talks about, there's a lot of like,
oh yes, pills. He's learning how to do like, he's learning how to make medications for people because he's a doctor.
Right, which gets him like disbarred and banned from like the medical society. This takes place in New York City around
like
1912,
1918-ish, 12. Yeah, you're
it
right.
jumps around a little bit, but it's pre-World War II, and that's the most important part.
You have to understand that this movie does lead up.
It takes place during like the end of World War I, and which was obviously a precursor
to World
War II. And it ravaged the world. It affected literally everyone alive. And and so Christian Bale is a veteran. And whenever we come into the story, and he is a doctor who is just trying to help veterans.
Yes.
That's his whole mission. That's his whole point of life. And the veterans, as everybody should be aware of, are largely marginalized and underserved after they go to war and come back. It happens now.
It does happen now. It's still a thing. It's all you are as a body. And if the government can't use you anymore, they don't really care what happens to you after.
You come home, you're injured, you're traumatized, and there's not really an infrastructure designed to really help you get on your feet.
Yeah, they have like it doesn't matter.
Lame attempts.
It literally doesn't matter.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's a theme that is relevant today and is throughout this movie. Yep. Because Christian Bale, he is just living his life, and he is basically summoned into this situation where he's called by Taylor Swift.
Yes, Taylor Swift and his longtime friend. Denzel Washington's son.
Harold Woodman.
Yes.
So Christian Bale's name is Bert. And so Harold and Taylor Swift.
Missed opportunity to name Harold Ernie.
I know, like Bert and Ernie.
Come on.
That'd be great. Like, why not?
I mean, it's based.
Have fun.
Yeah, why not?
It's a movie. Have some fun.
So Bert and Harold are called by Taylor Swift.
Yes, and they arrive, and they don't know really what's going on, but she is distraught, and she tasks them. She wheels out the body of her father.
Yeah, who is very blue.
Dead.
Very
dead.
blue, too. I'm like, girl.
Freshly dead.
Yeah, but why was he so gray?
Because they suspect foul play.
Exactly.
So Taylor Swift is like, hey, I'm in this movie and I'm talking now. And you two, you guys worked under him at served under him in the war. You know each other. You're friends. You went through something together. Mm-hmm. And you're basically the only people that he would ever trust to do this. So do an autopsy on him and find the real reason why he died, because the U.S. government wants to put him in the ground as soon as possible.
Yes. Also, you have 2 hours. You have 2 whole hours. So you better get answers in 2 hours. They say that so many times.
They repeat it several
2
times.
Hours.
2
Which
hours.
is how long this movie is.
Right. Even while they're like wheeling out this corpse, Taylor Swift is in the background. She's like, 2 hours. 2 hours. Don't forget.
Just for real. She said, meet me at Mildred's or whatever the place is called. Meekins.
Something like that. It's like Hiltu's.
Yeah.
And so they do. They take this body to this Undertaker place. And Zoe Saldana's here.
Yes. Also, this movie does touch on racial issues. By the way, this was 1918. They still very
Jim Crow
largely
situation.
Did not like black people, which is
even though they are in New York City and not the South, the Jim Crow-ness was very prevalent.
Yeah, because the nurse tells them that the black persons cannot be in the operating room, but Zoe Saldana's character can because she's Portuguese.
But that's a lie.
Yeah, it's a lie so that she can do her job.
Right. So, so she does her job, and they find that he must have been poisoned. Mm-hmm. So Christian Bale goes to this 5 o'clock meeting with Taylor Swift at this restaurant.
Elizabeth Meekins is her name.
Elizabeth
Honestly,
Meekins.
she does look like an Elizabeth Meekins. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty great casting. I could see that.
Yeah. For her.
Yeah, I really can. Elizabeth Meekins.
Taylor Meekins.
Oh, Elizabeth Swift. Liz Swift.
Yeah. Lizzie Swift.
Think about it. Okay, but let's think about the movie now. I am
thinking about it. Okay. So can you do the honors of describing what happens next? Because it is amazing.
So what happens next is, honestly, this is probably the greatest moment in cinematic history. So Bert and Ernie, also Harold, Bert and Harold walk into a bar. This is the beginning of a joke, a very good joke. And Taylor Swift is walking out of the other door. And so they follow her outside and she goes, I can't talk about it. It's dangerous. We can't do this. You need to find Tom Vose. Tom Vose can help. That's a name that you guys need to remember. Tom Vose. Tom Vose.
Did we
remember?
And they do this in the movie too. They do this. They say it over and over again.
Vose.
Every single time there's a point in this movie that needs to be hammered in,
10,000
they do
times.
so. They do it.
So Tom Vose.
They do it.
So Taylor Swift is now standing on a sidewalk and she's like, I can't talk about this. And they're like, wait, what? And so Harold and Bert are like, we think your father's been poisoned. Everything's super fishy. And then out of nowhere, a disembodied hand pushes Taylor Swift under a car and her body gets mangled immediately.
And you can
see
no
it.
Cutaway.
You can actually see her body. You see like the weird,
Yeah. It's a weird angle and it cuts to CGI, obviously. Dude. But the camera follows her from standing up to being
crushed under a vehicle.
To being crushed under the vehicle.
It is. Honestly, that was a good use of CGI because when it happened, I said, that is kind of probably how I'd expect a body to look. It's not gory.
It's not like a bloody mess. It's just like crunched bones and
mangled.
Done.
And
mangled.
And then Bert and Harold are standing on the sidewalk. And guess what? The person who pushed Taylor Swift under that car cries foul. And he says they did it.
And then the pedestrians turn on them very quickly.
Because they weren't there. They act like witnesses.
It's a black man.
Yep.
It's a black man and a weird looking white guy.
And you have to understand that, like 1918, and much like today.
Yeah. So it's a very similar themes of today.
Getting blamed for things you didn't do.
I thought Taylor Swift's death was amazing.
John, it was one of my favorites. It was so great.
I was like, David O. Russell, good on you for doing that to Taylor Swift. instead of treating her delicately, like you could have cut away.
No, they literally smushed her bones up. It was great.
That camera just one shot follows her straight down to the ground and underneath the tire.
It was so good, John. It was so good. And it was actually done very well too.
I was like, well, good job.
And you want to know what I liked about that?
Audacity.
Was Taylor Swift signed on knowing that was going to happen and was like, yeah, my beautiful green suit is going to be crushed under. I loved her suit, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, she looked good.
She really did look good. Her acting, subpar. And I'm not going to lie. It wasn't.
You know, I wasn't a fan. I
thought her acting was very subpar, for real.
I have to agree. And I love Taylor Swift. Love you, girl.
Me too.
We're gay.
It's fine.
But I mean,
stick to what you know, friend.
Definitely stick to it. Yeah. But I mean, maybe that's what she's working up to, but I don't understand the
trajectory of her acting career.
Yeah. Like her need to act in front of the camera. I don't quite get it. I don't understand the goal there.
I do think she has potential. Well, because I mean, look at her. She's freaking tall and gorgeous and she belongs in front of a camera.
But she's always crowded by, I think a long time ago, she was in another movie that was crowded. She was crowded around a lot of other A-list celebrities. And she was just like, and there was like Valentine's Day.
Yes, I was going to say it is. It's Valentine's Day.
And she like played like some weird cheerleader or something at that time. But she's always playing like very minimal speaking parts.
What's crazy to me about this, let me say this, is anytime I see Taylor Swift in something that isn't a music video, it takes me out because she is so huge as a music star.
You can't get away. Yeah. It's like Elvis being in a movie, which he was. He was,
but I don't see her as anything other than Taylor Swift. I want to. But I also don't think that she's had the chance to really hone her acting skills.
And her choices are like very glossy, stylized movies.
Oh,
like
she never looks bad. She never looks bad, dude, ever.
I think if she really wanted to go there, she might be really self-aware of her talent in acting. I think
she is. And I think that's why she has like minimal part. I mean, imagine picking a role where like, you know what? The best we can do is push this character under a car. I love
that. Yeah, she's not going to last long anyway.
I love that.
So, but she is crowded by a lot of really good performances in this movie. And I have to hand it to the movie for the good acting and the good performances and the good performances.
I can't say anything though about Taylor's acting. I would be about the exact same, if not worse. I don't know how I would do, especially with this cast, dude.
She did a serviceable job.
How do you compare? You can't compete.
Yeah, it's like she's literally acting along right in front of Christian Bale doing like insane character work.
Talk about
John David Washington, who is like the new prestige actor on the scene.
Also incredibly gorgeous. He is so
super gorgeous, but also his acting chops are insane.
Well, look at who his dad is.
Well, right.
He grew up with this. He understands. I'm sure he's had the best acting classes.
Yeah, and like he's holding his own away from just that comparison.
I agree. I totally agree. And I think he has a space all his own.
Yeah, so he was so obviously, if you guys aren't familiar with John David Washington, he is a prestige actor on the rise. He's getting there. So he was in Tenet, which was the action movie from Christopher Nolan.
Yes. I did not watch that. Did you watch it?
It was convoluted and crazy. I did not follow the logic whatsoever.
Okay, I didn't watch it.
But I appreciated it.
I'm sure it was cool looking. Christopher Nolan knows how to make a cool looking film.
Yeah, and John David Washington was in this little indie film that like I really liked called Beckett. It's like a Netflix movie. Huh. I don't think a lot of people saw it, but I really liked it.
Well, then I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, but I think his rise to prominence was whenever he did Black Klansman. He was the lead in Black Klansman.
Right.
And then he shortly thereafter did also in 2021, he did Malcolm and Marie alongside Zendaya.
Oh.
Yeah. So his career's looking okay.
Well, good. I'm happy for him. But let's get back to this movie.
Ooh. Yeah, so Taylor Swift is dead. And Bert and Harold are suddenly on the run as fugitives.
Police are shooting at them, and there is a mob of white people blaming the black guy So they take
and
off.
so where do they go? They go to
a strange wife's house.
Yes, he has an estranged wife that he is still married to. They are very wealthy and connected in New York City. And he goes to the apartment that he's not allowed in. And he, because it's like hers.
But before we get there, we have to understand there's a flashback that happens because he talks about how.
Oh, right. Yeah. Take it away.
We're going to do this super quick because a flashback is where we are introduced to Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie plays a nurse in the war when the war is happening, when Christian Bale meets. So when Bert meets Harold, Bert meets Harold and they meet them in the regiment where a lot of black people had to wear French uniforms because American soldiers were embarrassed to be seen next to black people. So they were forced to wear not American uniforms, which is real.
Which would also make you more likely to be shot by an American.
Yeah, which is nuts. And I'm sure it was intentional. So the thing with this is like, so that's where they meet. They meet in this regiment and they become super good friends. Margot Robbie's a nurse who takes care of them. And Margot Robbie's character, her name is what is her name?
Valerie Bowes.
Hot name alert, dude. Valerie Bowes. So she falls in love with Harold. And Bert and Harold and her all become best friends and they make a pact to always be with each other forever.
And at this time, they are in Amsterdam.
They're in Amsterdam.
Hence the movie name. Their whole friendship and love story it all happens because of Amsterdam.
And this is the flashback. So everything we talked about before takes place in New York after Amsterdam. So you get to see a little bit of how they meet Margot Robbie and how she plays into the story.
Right. And it does go on a bit long.
It's a little long, but I also kind of enjoyed it because I would love to see everything they did in Amsterdam. I'm sure what they did was fun. We only got a little bit, and I kind of like that story. I'm not going to lie. I kind of like that story a lot.
Yeah.
It would have been fun to see right up until they leave, but we don't get that. So it doesn't matter. Anyway, jump back to reality. In 1918.
So Christian Bale and Harold, they escape to Christian Bale's estranged wife's house. Her name is Beatrice Vanden Heuvel, which is a very wealthy name.
It really does sound wealthy.
And they hole up in there and call Beatrice over, and she's like, "Okay, what's going on? You guys are crazy." And then Christian Bale's like, "So this poor girl just like died, and we're being blamed for it, and we need to use your family's connection somehow to
get out of this,
exonerate us,
because we didn't do this, but we are being blamed."
Right. And so who shows up while they're there?
The police.
Two detectives.
They said, "You know why we're here?" And they said, "We didn't do it." And they said, "Well, where's the proof?" And they said, "We'll get it to you." And the police said,
and Andrea Riseborough's like, "I'm going to pull my weight over here and actually be a good person and be like, if you arrest my husband and his friend, my dad has a lot of friends
in the police force and you guys are going to lose your jobs." And they said, "Okay, we want to arrest them now, but we're going to give you some time to get all of this info you told us about." So she does show she's a good person for half a second. Yeah. Even though she's a terrible
she's
bitch.
Awful. She says some very demeaning things to Christian Bale, and it makes me feel really bad for Christian Bale.
And it also, there are people out there who are exactly like that.
Yeah, like Christian Bale is
disfigured.
He wears a back brace He wears a back brace because of his injuries from war. He lost an eye, so he has a glass eye.
And his back is full of scars from shrapnel.
Yeah, and so she's just sort of like disgusted with that.
And she tells him.
That's really messed up.
She literally tells him to his face. She was like, "You used to be so beautiful, and now you're ugly and disgusting. You're scarred and disfigured." And she sits there, and I think she gets off on it.
She does by belittling him, and he sort of does too.
But he's also kind of coming around to the fact that, you know what? She might not be for me. It is his journey. And this movie is kind of his journey into becoming someone
who likes themselves.
Yeah, which I do like about. So anyway, they have a chance to now do better, or not do better, to get evidence that they aren't it.
Yes. Somebody to vouch for them. And what they do is they try to prove they've tried to solve the mystery as fast as they
They're
can.
Who killed Elizabeth Meekins?
And also
Taylor-Meekins.
they have to find out who poisoned her father.
Yes.
So they do what she said. She said go to Vose before she was thrown under a moving vehicle.
A beautiful car. Also green, just like her suit.
Like a beautiful Studebaker.
Yeah, it was.
I don't know what
Studebakers
it was.
make me think of designing women, just for those of you who don't know that we're gay. The Studebakers. Okay, so back to the movie.
Yes. And so anyway, they go to Vose's mansion. It's a full-on mansion.
Tom Vose. And at this point, you guys don't realize that, what's her name? Margot Robbie?
Anya Taylor-Joy? Oh, right.
Margot Robbie, you don't know that her last name is Vose because she used a fake name in Amsterdam.
But whenever they knock on this door, Anya Taylor-Joy, the wife, Lizzie Vose, she answers the door and she is not a nice person.
No, but she looks incredible.
She looks amazing in a red lip.
Honestly, they can never...
I mean,
Anya Taylor-Joy could never not look good, I don't think.
I know. And she's a good actor.
She really is great. Honestly, can I tell you that I was listening to everybody who is not American and trying to clock their accents, and I was like,
couldn't do it.
They were doing a really good job.
They were doing a very good job.
Great
Anya
American
Taylor-Joy is very good at an American accent.
So is Margot Robbie.
And so is Margot Robbie.
They're great.
Usually Margot Robbie is like sort of put into these roles where she has like a New Jersey accent or like
she's good at playing like an Eastern,
And they do that whenever they're like have like a really thick Australian accent or English accent. They're usually cast in like American roles as like someone from the South or New Jersey,
which is really weird. Like Jersey, but it makes sense. She does a good job.
It like this guy, because like Harley Quinn has that like Brooklyn accent or something.
She really does. They do. They said Eastern United States. Here you are.
Yeah, she's probably had to work really, really hard for a number of years to really nail a flawless American accent.
Well, what's weird is because Anya Taylor-Joy, she doesn't have like a weird. No, I'm not saying weird. She doesn't have like a what do we want to call it? Regional. It doesn't sound regional. She has like a
basic American accent.
Yeah, which is.
Non-regional dialect.
Yes, it's like a non-regional dialect, which honestly...
Which is a regional dialect. Which is a regional.
It is regional.
Because it's Ohio.
But also...
That's what they base it on.
Ew.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I am very serious.
It's based off of Ohio? I'm sorry. If you guys live in Ohio, I'm so sorry. We're not roasting you.
So sorry.
We're not roasting you, but we do.
They do it with like newscasters and stuff.
Yes, they're
trained you. They're trained you with a non-regional dialect, and it's based off of Ohio.
That is...
Which is a region, so it makes it a regional dialect.
But in what region is Ohio? Because I don't know where to place Ohio.
White is what it is. It's called white.
Okay, so
it's called vanilla wafer cookie, like white.
True, like wafer cookie and banana pudding.
Yeah, it is American cheese.
Oh,
no flavor, vanilla, bland.
Damn,
white bread, regional dialect. Anyway,
we're back.
Anya Taylor-Joy answers the door.
After we
she's like, go
Ohio.
away, please. She's like, please go away. And they're like, no, we are like from the church and we want to talk to your husband, who is like a main contributor benefactor to this church that's super Christian, and we need to talk to him. We're supposed to be here. And she's like, let me go grab him for you. And they step inside the foyer, and who bursts through a side door than none other than the Margot Robbie, Valerie Vose. It's been like 12 years.
Yep, since they've all seen each other.
And so Harold, who's still very much in love with her, is like, what are you doing here?
She's also like, what are you doing here?
And they're like, let's go talk about what we're all doing here. And they debrief each other in a lot of exposition. There's so much dialogue explaining what's happening all throughout the movie. So just get used to it. It's
pretty witty dialogue. I did enjoy the dialogue.
Sure. Yeah.
You're like, sure. So this is where John and I have now separated.
Our opinions are divorced.
Our opinions are divorced. But there is a lot of dialogue in this movie.
And it's not just dialogue and witty dialogue, and sure there's some, but it's mostly to keep the audience abreast of where we are in the story.
Yeah.
And that's not fun for me because like, just stop.
For me, see, and that is where both of us differ, because to me, it doesn't bother. I didn't mind.
Yeah, true.
I didn't mind.
You know who had a lot of dialogue, but it wasn't so expositional? Knives Out.
John, Knives Out
does it good.
Knives Out is a fantastic movie. Also, I want to see The Glass Onion.
Me too. Is that out?
I don't know, but if it is.
Oh, it's only in theaters right now, but it's coming soon to
It'll
Netflix.
Be on Netflix.
We'll do it soon.
We'll do it.
We'll do it soon.
We'll do it.
But anyway, that's how you do lots of witty, cool dialogue, while you're also maintaining a distinct, different character voices without being expositional dialogue.
Yeah.
This Amsterdam, all of the characters talk the same.
They do kind of talk the same. You're right. They do all kind of, and you're kind of right. Oh, you know what? Let's save that until the end. Let's get through this and then we're going to get to it.
Anyway, Margot Robbie, turns out she is the sister of Vose, played by Rami Malek. And she is here, but she's sort of like playing an angle where she's like an invalid, quote unquote. And she's like playing a character so that they don't like control her or something like that. I don't know why she's doing it, to be honest.
Well, they're not. They're actually drugging her, if you forget.
Oh, right.
They have actually told her she has all these issues, but they're giving her drugs to actually ruin her. And it's a plot that her brother, apparently, it's like a behavior that he has followed through with his own mother, which you find out later.
Right. So Margot Robbie has developed a neurological disorder where she's like dropping things, falling.
She has vertigo all of a sudden. She has seizures all of a sudden.
Yeah, and Harold like basically looks to camera and is like, "You never had that before."
He's like, "I know, but age."
Yeah, and they're like, "Okay, cool." So they embark on this mission with Margot to solve the problem, and what they do is they come clean to Rami Malek. They're like, "We're not from the church. This is what we're doing. And we're being accused of a murder that we didn't do. And we are being given an opportunity to prove what the crime actually is so that we are off the hook." And
they're like, "We need your help. Please help us.
How can you help us?"
And he's like, "I can't, but you know who can?
Robert De Niro can.
Robert De Niro's character can help you. So go ahead and find him."
Yeah. And they're like, "We can link you up with him. And we know who he is. They're very close friends." And he is a celebrity general who's very well connected
and has served multiple times in multiple wars on 3 different continents. He's very well.
It's like he can vouch for you, and people will just go away and get off your back.
He's a decorated soldier, and America loves that shit.
Yeah, so they do it. They go to him and to his house, and the trio, Christian, Margot, and John, they all go together and they basically just convince him of the story. And he's like, "You guys are veterans." And then they are immediately win him over because he's a veteran too. They have that going for them.
Well, he says, "Sing me a song. I'll remember. I need you guys to sing me a song because we met. If we did met, and that's truly you in these photographs you presented with me, I need you to sing for me." And so they sing him a song they made up. And he was like, "Oh, yes, that's the song." And then they're all BFFs.
Yeah. And then this is where things start to go into muddy territory for me, because I was like, what's going on now? Where it suddenly becomes this sort of coup plot.
Well, there's a subplot in this movie where we have to tell you this all leads up, obviously, to World War II. What's happening within this movie at this moment is there's like this dark underbelly in the United States of people who are trying to sterilize Black people. They're trying to sterilize people that they don't deem worthy, which is something obviously that we all know.
It's white supremacy.
There's basically white supremacy is starting to happen, and a coup is starting to form where they're like, we have to stop this. So that's where we're at.
Yes, and there's whispers of Hitler.
Whispers of Hitler.
And there's whispers of the, what was it, like
Gestapo,
the Third Reich. Gestapo, Third Reich. Nazism is on the rise.
Yes.
In Europe, and it's trickling into American
somehow,
ideology.
Which is so bizarre.
It's through the American elite,
and through the powerful who are like, who needs to die? Everyone who's poor.
Who are like, they're very much like subscribing to societies at this point in American culture, where it's like you had like Illuminati culture, you had those things in the early 1900s. It was very much like
it's cliques,
underground society based.
It's very cliquish, but on a
and so
dark
with
level.
Yeah, exactly, totally that. And so it touches on this theme that I believe is accurate, historically accurate, where like these American elitists who do a part of their culture is being in like these brotherhoods and
brotherhoods.
Like
let's
that.
not.
Right. And so like it's just a part of their whole thing. And so they subscribe to Nazism as like another way of life, like a club.
Yes, they actually love the idea.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's sort of like that Illuminati sort of idea. What do they call it? Oh, the Freemasons.
Yes, Freemasons.
So
which we now have
people are subscribing to Nazism in America. We now have
QAnon, which is another weird one.
Right. And they're like, so crazy.
It's still happening. We now have...
It never went away.
No, it never went away.
It just went under the radar and largely
now it's
ignored.
Just something new.
Yeah, so that's how it's happening. And so the Robert De Niro, though, he's like an avid American save democracy type.
He's an apple pie type of guy. He is as American as apple pie.
Right. So he wisens them up onto what the larger plot is and why this man was possibly poisoned, because he knew too much about this sort of grassroots American Nazism bubbling under the surface.
But he also saw it in Europe, because remember, he died. He went to Europe he was poisoned there because he saw what they said, atrocious things.
Yes, atrocities such as the things that Travis just described, and how this could lead to another world war,
which they got out of.
Right. And so the Nazism, the thing that Robert De Niro does not want to have happen is there are certain powerful people who say that they are for and protecting veterans of World War I. And so they want to do like a service by putting them into office without an election so that there's more representation for veterans. Yes. And it's this Trojan horse where these people are like Nazi sympathizers injected into the American government to infiltrate it and to ruin American democracy so that the Nazis during a looming World War II can overtake America.
The shadow that hasn't yet been cast, but is on its way.
Yeah. So that's the plot. Did I get that right?
You did get that right.
Okay.
You got it. It was like nail on the head. Like this whole movie is basically to thwart the World War II earlier on.
Yes. And so, so they put on this
gala
party.
They put on a gala and they have the general be the speaker because their speaker, Mr. Meekins, has been murdered. So now they need someone new, and they have this very powerful general now.
Who's going to expose the plot.
Yep.
To everyone in the room, which will then be blasted out into the public and thwart the whole thing.
Which
the whole Nazi agenda
is exactly what he does.
Which is exactly what he does. But Timothy Olyphant, who was the character nefarious henchman guy who pushed Taylor Swift underneath the wheel of a moving car.
He looks like a McPoyle from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
He does look like a McPoyle.
He looks just like a McPoyle. That's all I could think of. I was like, You're
like, gross.
Yeah. Warm milk.
A McPoyle with a McPoyle with a jawline.
Everyone in this movie.
On jawlines galore. So he tries to assassinate this general, but
he fails.
Margot Robbie and John David Washington see him like lurking, and so they fist fight, and they throw him and the gun over the edge, but their mistake is that they throw him over the ledge and he lands right where the gun is, and then he immediately picks up the gun and starts firing again.
Well, oh no, he tries to. He gets off a lot of rounds on the rafters. He tries to, and then he pulls out a knife, and people thwart his plan. And then everyone's like, deep, beep, bop, boop. And they go to the back and they're like, we've solved the mystery. Tom Vose, Anya Taylor-Joy, you are terrible people, and you were up to this the whole time.
This is your plot.
And then there's
we're the bad guys.
There's a really cool fantasy of Margot Robbie shooting Anya Taylor-Joy right through the cheek, which I thought was real.
And they continue talking.
Yes, and I thought it was great. And then it turns out she didn't, and they're like, you're going to be arrested because you are a Nazi.
Yeah, and then so they arrest Anya Taylor-Joy and Rami Malek because they are nasty, terrible Nazis. And and then so, but they are not. So Margot Robbie and Harold Woodman, they have to go away. Because
in the United States, you cannot be in an interracial relationship. It's too dangerous for them. Also, not only for that, but also because
they have broken many laws and
ties
ways
to these people who probably want them dead now.
Right. So it's no longer safe for them to be in America. So they are going to go on a ship.
They don't say where.
They don't say where, but it can't be Amsterdam because apparently
the Gestapo, they say, and they're like, what's Gestapo? And Michael Shannon and his jaw is like, you don't want to know, but we do.
But Amsterdam, obviously, they have
some things are starting.
That part of Europe,
it's starting.
Is very much not a safe spot ahead of right before World War II, as everybody knows. So they're like, go somewhere else.
You have to go somewhere else, and we'll send you elsewhere.
Yeah. So, but they'll always have Amsterdam in their heart. Yep.
Christian Bale's character stays because he finds a new love with Zoe Saldana, who is like a side character, but like also she plays kind of a pivotal role in him finding himself.
Yeah. And so, so he has value. He has self-worth and respect, and he's going to start his own life there and and roll the dice.
And that's the movie, everyone. That's Amsterdam.
Amsterdam.
We wrapped it up for you.
Yeah, but the most important takeaway is that you watch Taylor Swift
pushed under a car,
thrown underneath a car,
it's
to her death.
I love it. It's really good.
It was a good choice.
It's a really good scene in this movie.
Yeah,
it's honestly really great. They did a good job with it too. It's like not even comical. Yeah. I was like, oh.
But it's sort of funny because like the context is you're watching that happen to Taylor Swift.
Well, this movie gave me kind of,
not that I want her to be hit by a car.
No, absolutely not. But this movie, I think the reason why, because I think you and I obviously are different pages on how we like this movie. So I guess let's get into our review. And I'm going to say this. Yeah. This movie kind of reminded me a bit of Burn After Reading in the sense that like it didn't take itself too seriously. It was beautiful. I didn't mind the way that they told me how the story was going to go. That's just, I thought the cast was great. Taylor did what she could. She died amazingly. I loved that for her. Also, for me, I think out of 10 Taylor Swifts being pushed under a car, I don't know what else to say. I think I want to give it a 7, but only, and I'll say this, I give it a 7. I'm not giving it too high of a rating. I think I give it a C because while it is beautiful, they do look at the audience as if we're not smart enough to figure it out as we're going. I could have figured this out.
Everything they say is about what the plot is and how they're going to do it and whose relationship is to who and what just happened. And
not only what just happened that you just witnessed, they tell you what just happened, even though you saw it. They also tell you what's going to happen next, which I don't need to know.
Yeah, it's like, this is what we plan to do. So like, it's too Scooby-Doo for me.
That's why when you were saying earlier, they do tell you everything. That does kind of knock some points because I'm like, it's fine. I'm smart enough to figure this shit out myself. It doesn't automatically make it a 0.
Yeah, but it's just bad dialogue.
But I did think there were some witty moments in it. I loved the cast. I thought the cast, I don't really think they could have picked a better cast. I'm not going to lie.
Well, yeah, it's like
the cast was pretty incredible.
it's an A-list cast.
But as far as A-list cast go, I will say this. They could have picked other people, and I don't think it would have worked as well as the people in this.
True.
Because they all seem to have chemistry.
Yes, they all seem to have something going on. And there is a lot of character interplay and like scenes with like 5 characters in a room together.
Yes, I thought Kristen Bell was great.
Sort of, yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy holds her own.
Margot Robbie,
which is great. So I think Anya Taylor-Joy is like in this sort of the point in her career where she has to sort of like prove that she can do these things.
And she can, and she's doing very well.
She's doing it. Yeah.
So I will say, as far as it's filmed beautifully, and another reason why I give it a 7 is I started this movie last night and I could have finished it. I wasn't tired enough not to finish it.
Yeah.
But I also was like, I kind of want to watch some YouTube right now. And so
that was me too. I did it
stopped
as well.
An hour immediately after he hits his face on the floor. When he hits his face on the ground in the office.
You were like, pause it. How much longer is this?
I paused it at an hour. And I was like, I can finish this before we do the podcast.
Right. That was me too. Like I finished it late last night because I had 44 minutes left to go, but I was watching it and I was like,
I wasn't captivated enough.
No, me neither. I was like, this is going to go on for 44 more minutes. I just don't want to.
I wasn't captivated enough. So 7, it's not a terrible movie.
Yeah. For me, I would say
maybe a 6.
Yeah. Well, I would say out of 10 Christian Bale glass eyes.
Oh, true. I forgot.
I would give it like a 5.
I'm going to give it a 6.5. I'm going to take it from my 7. Okay. I'm going to give it a 6.5. Right.
Yeah. Cause although like the themes are compelling, like it's very relevant to today. It's what's going on now. It is
relevant, which is weird. And I don't like watching it.
Yeah. Whenever you have that mirror held up, it's like, I'm
like, whoa.
Like, yeah, everything's dark and crazy. But I liked the way everybody performed
as well,
which saves the movie, I think. But for me, the way the story was told and the structure of it, maybe like there wasn't enough tension, like the attention building. There was never a point where I was like, ooh, are they going to get this thing done? Because a lot of that is just wasted on a lot of back and forth expositional dialogue about like the history of this and how we got here, the facts of this and the culture surrounding us. Everybody's talking about it. But I'm just like, just tell me what's at stake. Because the mystery was to keep that what's at stake suppressed until like the third act, whenever Robert De Niro joins the group and is like, well, this is really what's going on. But it was also
very anticlimactic in the sense that when he gave his speech, there wasn't a whole lot happening.
Not a whole lot happening. There was weird choices in that climax too, where it's like you had these weird cuts to people singing their national anthems against each other. And then it cut back to it and they were just not talking at all. There was a lot of that going on. Which is like something that happened in old school cinema, which is a reflection of like contrapuntal editing choices and things. So it's like an homage to that, but just wasn't really working.
That. That's so weird that you say that, because that was one of the things that I kind of enjoyed. The Germans singing their thing, or the Nazi sympathizers.
They had like a sing off for like a split second.
I actually really liked that moment. I'm not going to lie. I love the way it cut.
Yeah, because it's like very subjective, and it's like it's impressionistic.
It's a choice that I think some people will love. Like me, I really loved it. I was like, wait, that's kind of cool.
Everybody else is like, what are we doing right now? Like we're forcing high climactic moment.
But also, I don't know how Margot Robbie got back down to there for her to sing after all of that. That happened before or after?
I mean, exactly. So nothing really quite makes sense in this movie. And it's just like these characters are sort of just like existing to like, okay, now this part of the plot has to happen. So we're going to get them there. Like it's so weird. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, also the flashback scenes were just like way too long and stuff. Like I wanted to get to like, I was pretty on board up until they did the first flashback, because they were setting it up so good. And I'm like, ooh, okay, cool. We're getting into like Chinatown mystery.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then
they did show the whole Amsterdam thing.
Yeah. And I'm just like, okay. And then by the time we get back, it starts to go into like relationships and exploring like different dynamics there.
John, I like the flashback, but like I said before,
a different movie.
I could see that as a whole movie.
Yeah.
I really could. I want to
I feel
know
like
what
it's
they
like
did
an
in
homage to
Amsterdam.
like a Bertolucci film or something like that. Like it's very much like a Bertolucci. I'm probably saying that wrong. But it's that whole like romance, like three friends, two of them are lovers.
Does that not sound like an amazing movie though? I want to see their hijinks from when they met when her as a nurse, being somebody who forged her way through life. She literally forged her way through life. Seeing their hijinks in Amsterdam before it became what people know it for.
Right.
I would love to see what they were up to.
Yeah, and that's just like a different movie.
It is a different movie.
It's not this spy crime.
It did kind of feel
thriller.
like a little bit of a different movie, but I was invested in that flashback, I'll tell you.
Yeah. But I wasn't really into it, so it's like a 5 for me.
I liked it. I'm going to give it, I already said gave it a 7, then I gave it a 6.5.
Well, you gave it a 6 and then a 6.5.
Well, no, I gave it a 7 first and I dropped half a point. Yeah, because I dropped half a point because I remembered it didn't captivate me enough to watch it all the way through.
But this movie does, to your point though, this movie does try to trick you into making you believe that it's like really, really good because the craftsmanship is so good. Costumes, set design. It's
actually quite incredible.
Cinematography, acting is good. Yeah.
6.5 for me.
I would say it boils down to no, directing was good too. I think
the directing was really good.
It's just the writing. The core story really just ruined it.
And the fact that they were able to get all of these people in this movie, it's kind of a testament to what the director / writer, why is his name escaping me? We all know
David O. Russell
what he can do.
Prestige. He's like a prestige guy and has made really great movies.
I didn't hate this movie. I recommend if you haven't watched it.
Yeah. You know what it is?
It's a background movie.
Travis. Right. It's like a Christmas Eve, Christmas Day movie where you have other things going on, but everybody's sort of tired from waking up early to open presents and like you had lunch and everything and it's evening time and just put it on to watch some really beautiful jawlines.
Honestly, it's not a bad movie. It's not a perfect movie, but it is, to me personally, I thought it was fun, but I also watched it in 2 parts. I
didn't think it was very fun.
I thought it was.
Yeah,
but that's okay because we are
quite
different.
Droll. But anyway, the critics' consensus here. So the critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave it 33%.
They did. Damn, dude, I'm way off on this one. I'm off.
They did not. Well, you're more along with the audience, which was 62%.
Oh, okay. So I was close enough for them. I mean, it tugged for me. It worked for me.
Yeah.
Well,
I can see how it can work for people.
It worked for me in the sense that like
Anya Taylor-Joy looked great. Yeah. But so the critics' consensus says Amsterdam has a bunch of big stars and a very busy plot, all of which amounts to painfully less than the sum of its dazzling parts.
It's not wrong.
It's dazzling.
It's not.
It has dazzling parts.
It really does have dazzling parts.
Yeah. And the audience says Amsterdam can be hard to follow, but the cast makes it easy to watch. And the story has some interesting messages if you're paying attention.
Honestly, that's me. I am the audience this time
also
around.
Accurate.
John, I'm the audience this time around.
Yeah. And I thought the plot was going to be a lot harder to explain than it was, but
it's actually not hard at all. It's not convoluted, why did they have to bury so much into it?
Also, the person who really solves the problem isn't the protagonist at all. It's not Christian Bale because he's fucking high during the whole climax. It's Mike Myers.
Yeah, it's Mike Myers and Michael Shannon.
But and they're like they solve it off screen. By the way,
what's weird is though
they're like, hey, can you come back into this room where some people are in trouble? We got to explain to you what's going on.
What's crazy to me too is like these 2 characters who are kind of like, they love birds and they make dodos go extinct, which I think is kind of a funny side story. And the way they explain it,
I would watch that
honestly,
comedy.
I would watch that comedy. The way they explain it away, like they're a leech bird. They knew the whole time. So all of this could have been avoided. They knew the whole time. All they had to do was arrest these people.
They had to put all the people into the same situation.
They had to put it into motion which is
they had to bring it out into the open essentially.
I'm still giving it my review.
And also they're spies, so they couldn't do it themselves.
No, they can't. They have to have other people do the work, and then they can do the end.
Yeah, here's a top critic who gave it a splat, a rotten tomato. So it takes well over an hour before Amsterdam decides what it wants to be. And by that time, viewers may be exasperated by the film's quirkiness and exhausted by its meandering, unfocused storyline. That's me.
That's John right there.
That's me.
John sits with the critics on this one. I sit with the audience because I like the quirkiness, and it didn't. But like I said, I did watch it in parts, so I didn't.
You didn't hold your attention. You stopped at the hour.
I stopped at an hour because I knew I had time in the morning to finish it before we did this. And I was like,
you just couldn't
I'm going to go watch YouTube before I fall asleep.
Right, exactly. I want to spend this extra hour not on Amsterdam.
I mean, you guys can all take that for what it is. I did split this into parts.
But yeah, like gorgeous jawlines.
Gorgeously filmed.
Yeah. Stream it now on HBO Max.
Or wherever you can find it, quite honestly. It might not be on HBO Max for you.
Don't pay for it.
No, which sucks to say. But you know what?
Don't pay for it.
That's it. Like, I think we did an okay job, especially on a movie that had a lot going on. But also, John, it really had not a lot going on. They just made it seem like it did.
Yeah, it just goes all over the place. But I enjoyed talking about it with you.
Yeah, me as well. It's always a good time. Mean Girls Interrupted. It's my favorite time of the week.
Me too. I mean, I am a Mean Girl Interrupted.
I am also one of those. And our listeners, you guys can decide whether you are or not.
And you can decide whether or not you want a t-shirt merch that says, I am a Mean Girl Interrupted on the front. And by emailing us at meangirlsinterrupted@gmail.com.
Because we can do that. No joke. I actually can make that happen.
Yeah, we'll do it on demand. And we'll charge you an arm and a leg and maybe even an eyeball.
With the way that was a good one. That's a good one. Yeah.
This movie features a character with the glass eye.
It's a very convincing glass eye.
It was good. I was thinking that maybe even sometimes they weren't even putting a glass eye in there.
John, it's hard to say.
But, well, at that, like, comment, rate, review, follow us. Make sure you're on you subscribe to us, maybe on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on there so that you get the alerts for new episodes. Otherwise, you won't. And we just love you guys so much for listening.
Even if you aren't subscribed, thank you for listening, but please subscribe. And I guess with that, that's it. That's this episode.
That's the episode. So everyone, we're going to have to see you at the movies.
Roll the credits, yeah. Studebaker car smashing Taylor Swift, who plays Elizabeth Meekins.
Yeah.
Green suit. Sorry.
Bye.